I've lived here my whole life, and my mother still lives here, but I really do not like sleeping here. I want to know why. There's just so much I don't know how to articulate it. I just need her help.
There weren't too many boundaries, and there weren't too many rules, and you were the target.
For a long time, I was terrified by it.
The energies visiting her, they're not all good.
There's always been revolving doors of entities. I slept with my mother. I was so freaked out.
Crazy, demonic, evil. This is very gruesome. My heart is racing very, very quickly. My name is Kim Russo, and I am a psychic medium. When I was 9, I was visited by the first of many dead people who wanted to communicate with the living through me. Realizing that I couldn't ignore my abilities, I chose to embrace them. Many people are haunted by traumatic paranormal events buried in their past. Some of these people have faces you might recognize. You've heard about their paranormal experiences. Now you are about to witness the moment they take me back to the place of the haunting, in the hopes of uncovering the truth. This is The Haunting of Kelly Carlson.
We're here in the home that I grew up in, still own to this day, but because of my past living here and growing up with ghosts or spirits, whichever you want to call it, I tend to spend the least amount of time here as possible. That's hard to say because I've lived here my whole life and my mother still lives here, but I really do not like sleeping here.
I'm in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on my way to meet Kelly Carlson. I am actually going to try and help her figure out what happened to her with a paranormal experience she's had or is still having. And I'm getting the feeling that the energies that may be visiting her, they're not all good. Some of them may be extremely possessive.
My first experience that I remember was when I was 12. So I'm laying in bed, and I look over to my bedroom door, which is to my left across the room. And I see in the doorway, there's a woman standing with long brown hair, and then from behind her, a man goes down the stairs. And I can't make sense of this at all. And then, you know, two or 3 days later, I woke up and there was a man over me. And then another time there was a guy standing over my mother. Although I know this is gonna sound really creepy, but he didn't have a head. Most of the time you don't see ghosts and, you know, head to toe. You see them waist up, shoulders down, kind of pieces of them, if you will. And I knew what I was seeing was not wrong. I wasn't seeing things. It wasn't my eyes playing tricks on me at all. I have no explanation for it. From there on, for probably a year with these particular ghosts, they were really, I don't want to say violent, but really forward in my face. They would wake me up in the middle of the night all the time, you know, Kelly, or, you know, tapping, you know, pulling hair. When they wake you up in the middle of the night, you wake up looking right at them. It's not like you're groggy and you're going, ugh, you know. It's almost like before you wake up, they're getting your attention. When I was occupied, they'd be, you know, nudging at me. Like, over here, you know. They would move my clothes or anything. Forks moving across the table. The plates, you know, rattling. It was really, really just their confrontational behavior towards me. And that's how I knew when they were in my room or when they were in the house and when they weren't. And this was horrifying for me. I really thought I was like losing my mind. And that's kind of a scary, you know, feeling when you're 12. And at that point, I was like, bring it on. I need help, because this is serious. And Michael came over and walked right into the house. I remember him just going to work right away. When he walked into my bedroom, one was laying on the bed, they're sitting on the floor. He said, there are these 6 guys. These guys were angry, and you felt it. They're unhappy in the present. They're unhappy on the other side. They've definitely, you know, moved in and aren't leaving, and we're very confrontational with him. He described one guy that I did see, you know, and I didn't tell him what he looked like, so then I absolutely then believed everything he told me. And from what Michael tells me, they were very possessive of me. The worst moment, which still irks me to death, ironically, was when Michael was coming over to the house and we were dealing with the 6 guys, and he looked at me dead in the eye and he said, Kelly, do not worry, they'll never hurt you. And I was like, okay. And probably 2 days later, I'm sitting up against the bed. No one's in the room. Something smacks me clear across the forehead. You're to smack yourself. You can feel the sting from the smack, and I can just feel it on my forehead. I flipped. I couldn't even wrap my head around it. I still can't. It still freaks me out. And it was almost like as if they heard him say that or something, and they just did that in spite of him. I'm like, okay, so if they smacked me across the forehead, like, are they gonna push me down the stairs, or, you know, like, I really lived in fear, for sure. I'm really looking forward to meeting Kim, because I want to know why there isn't a consistency, why there is so many people starting from when I was 12 to the present day. I'd like to know why I can see, touch, feel, hear. I mean, there's just so much, I don't know how to articulate it. I just need her help.
This is a really lovely neighborhood we're driving through. But I get the impression that where we're going and who we may encounter today may not be nearly as pleasant.
Today, I would like to investigate a little bit as to why there isn't a consistency, why there is so many people starting from when I was 12 to the present day. You know, I'm really looking forward to meeting Kim because I'd like to know why I can see, touch, feel, hear, but I can't hold a dialogue with one because it was like a revolving door. There was never any consistency with a ghost of any kind that, you know, I got to know. It was different all the time, and so I want to know why. There's just so much I don't know how to articulate it. I just need her help.
I have a presence with me, actually I want to say since about an hour ago. And he's very, very strong. Comes across very fatherly-like. I don't know if Kelly lost her dad, but I'm getting the sense that that's who this man is. Seeing a way to get in to speak is the reason he would come, especially if it is his only way to get a message to his family. So there are people there, energies, entities. I don't know yet who they are or what they are. I will know more when we get there. But they are active. That I can sense. And it's just, it's actually making me very, very anxious. Yeah. Sensing a lot of activity, a lot of residual, but there's definitely active spirits here. Have my angel, and we'll see what else I might need along the way.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, my pleasure.
You ready to come in?
Well, I'm ready to come in, but before I do, I like to tell people, once I open the door to spirit communication, I don't control what comes through.
That's okay.
So no, you are ready?
I'm following you.
Okay,
yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Come on in.
Then I will step in. Prior to getting started, if you had one question that you would like to get out of today, what would that be?
I would love to know why, over the years, there is not consistency. There's always been revolving doors of entities, or whatever you want to label them. Nobody, one in particular, that lasts a long time.
Okay. I feel the presences. I sense them. I do communicate with them. But in order to unlock the clues as to what was going on while you were growing up, I have to actually walk through the house and get a sense of all the spirits that are here, who these people are, and why they've been so random. That may not answer all your questions, but hopefully it will give you some insight.
If there's someone that's occupying now, it would be different from back. Can you resource back to years
so that's
back?
Resourcing back is called residual energy.
Okay.
That the spirits leave impressions of.
Okay.
I will point out the difference to you when I feel it's active energy or if I feel it's residual. There's a woman in this house.
Oh, that's rare. Okay.
This lady's family. She's a spunky little old lady, but she has her hair done, very pretty.
When you say family, does it have to be blood? Can it be somebody so close that you consider family?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's Mary.
Is she like more like an aunt or a grandmother figure for you? Older?
She is kind of like that with my mother.
Right.
They're like family to us. And she's very
put together.
Sophisticated.
She has pearls on.
Oh, yeah.
Her hair is done very nicely. So that is her way of saying hello.
Okay.
And the fact that you're here visiting your mom, she wants to say hello to you and your mom.
Oh, good. Yeah, so we love Mary.
So she's a sweet lady. That's who I felt in this room. But could I?
You can go anywhere you want.
I'm drawn this way?
You.
Okay,
yep.
Great.
You're free.
All right, now, if I stand here, I'm feeling some residual stuff from here. Residual meaning activity that might have happened at one time to you. Between this room and this room, I saw a lot of coming and going of, I'm gonna say this is a man. I want to say that, this is gonna sound strange, he's a gay man. I don't know if there's perfume in here, but
It would be in here.
But that's why I kind of sensed, because I keep seeing him spritzing himself. Definitely was a woman in another lifetime. That's where his memory of being a woman comes into play in this lifetime.
You know Kitty that would come over here?
Yeah.
And you gave him some of your clothes to wear? He was a cross-dresser?
Oh, yeah. He was, a cross-dresser. He actually had a sex change, and I did help him out a lot. I didn't make the connection when you first said that because I have not known him to have passed, so.
He also says that he has had some deep conversations with you about life and about relationships.
Yeah.
But as I stand here, he's right here. A very sensitive soul. I get the impression that this gentleman would cry at a Hallmark commercial. Very misunderstood, obviously. Borderline abused by men or relationships, in the relationships he was in. This man was killed, like by people that persecute him for liking to be dressing up as a woman. So
That's too bad. That's awful.
it is bad, and it's not. It looks like I am in some kind of desert area, like Las Vegas or Nevada, somewhere in that area. Possibly New Mexico, Arizona, very dry desert-like climate. And I'm in some sort of alleyway or like back parking lot.
He went to Nevada,
Oh, okay.
and now they haven't heard from him for a month.
But when, how many years ago was that?
7, 8, 9.
He didn't come to terms with his own death yet.
That's too bad.
It's horrible. Okay, so let's go on up to the kitchen. Okay, so let's see what's in the kitchen. As bright and airy as this looks. Do you have like weird experiences in here with drawers opening and closing or cabinets opening and closing?
Yeah.
Did you ever have a time where you had a sleepover with a friend and maybe you were both sitting here and all of a sudden something very weird happened here and you just looked at each other?
Probably 100 times.
You heard this banging noise, like this crash. Did you ever have a time where you had a sleepover with a friend and maybe you were both sitting here and all of a sudden something very weird happened here and you just looked at each other?
Probably 100 times.
You heard this banging noise, like this crash. And
yeah, I've had that.
And you looked at each other like, it's just you and I in this home. Who is this?
Yeah, but that's happened so many times.
I'm sensing an energy, a man. This one particular guy was an angry kind of guy. I'm gonna give this man a name.
Okay.
Because he said Henry.
Okay.
He was, I wanna say murdered. There's a lot of violence. But it's because of his own actions he was murdered. He did not hang with the right crowd. And so this man went too soon before his time and too violent. So he needed to hang around and find an outlet. And he found an outlet here. I'll tell you what's maybe some good news here. He doesn't live here anymore.
Good. Okay. No offense, Henry.
Henry's made a little bit peace maybe with his own soul. There was somebody that might have lived here at one time. There was a man that lived here. Your father have an initial L?
Yeah.
It's a short name though, very like 3 letters.
Yeah. Lee.
This is residual, but there are times your father absorbed this man's anger. A lot of maybe your dad's moods were not really based on his own feelings and thoughts, but he was always protecting you. Now, I don't know if there's another upstairs to this place, but I'm feeling like I have to go above my head.
Yeah, there's bedrooms upstairs.
Okay.
So yeah.
You know, I feel discombobulated a little bit. Did you add the upstairs here, or is there new construction? This is not the floor plan.
Right, no, this was my bedroom. We took the wall down and made it, when I left.
More there,
Yeah.
towards the window?
Mhm.
Because I keep seeing a much smaller space where you were.
Yeah, that was my
not this
room.
big.
Correct.
A couple of times I feel the bed was switched around. Like either it's by the window or it was by this wall. That's kind of how I'm seeing.
Yeah, I moved it.
And not sure if you ever had to sleep with the covers over your head, but I'm getting like very scared being woken up out of your sleep. Almost seems like when you go to, when you go to the zoo and you see the monkeys hanging on the trees, like there's one over there and then there's one over there and there's one over there. Like, I hate to compare them to monkeys, but it's like almost like hanging in midair. Like,
Yeah, there were times there was multiple. Yeah, sure.
there were spirits here that were very, very mischievous.
Yeah.
6 o'clock, which I want to call like almost dinner time, things started to get in motion, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah.
Like they would get ready for
Yeah.
the evening's events. This was like one big playhouse for them. There weren't too many boundaries and there weren't too many rules. And that is why I'm kind of sensing they might have been here. Some of them might not have even known they are dead. One of them hung himself or was, oh God, this is
While
very
ago.
gruesome. Because there's another one that was, I want to say, chopped up. Body was chopped. You know someone who died like that?
No, I don't know, but when the times that I do see, sometimes it is just a lot of times shoulder down. And there was one time, one particular, I remember just seeing a face, not anything else. Slept with my mother, I was so freaked out.
They would never pull that stuff on your mom. Mom had a really harsh tone to her, like, don't mess with me. Just her demeanor, she's sweet as could be, but they knew enough not to mess with her.
Yeah, that's could very well be true.
Has she ever had scary encounters?
Yeah, she's had situations happen. I wouldn't say they'd scare her, though.
There you go. It
yeah.
didn't work. So you know what? After a while, they give up.
Okay.
And you were the target.
Yeah, was really bad. It was kind of a terrorizing type situation.
Terrorizing.
For like about 6 years.
Like
you
no
said.
mercy.
No.
You would be the one that they would put the show on for.
Yeah, they used to drive me crazy.
So that being said, with all of these residual energies that I'm feeling here and that were here at the time, I'm telling you, this space now feels very cleared.
Yeah.
So something must have happened to move them on to another location.
There was a shift at one point that may have had to do with me. For a long time, I was really terrified by it, but I think I gained a little bit of strength and control over it.
There's more that took place in this bedroom. Who's Kevin?
I have a good friend named Kevin. He doesn't live here, but he was diagnosed with cancer. He's living. And I knew it before he called me, and I was here. And then the phone rang, and I said, "Oh, you're sick." And he goes, "How did you know that?" And I just said, "I just knew it."
And you were here in this space?
I was in my room, yeah.
There you go.
It was one of those moments that you're like, oh, you know, something else was going on.
Right. I don't think that's a stretch at all.
Okay.
I would love to find out, when you come here, where do you stay? Where do you sleep when you come here?
I sleep in the lower level. Let's go,
Okay.
Joe. We'll
All
go
right,
downstairs. Oh, we have a picture of Mary. Oh, this is Mary.
This is the lady I saw with the hair done perfectly high, teased.
She's been gone about 4 months.
So she's more fresh in
Yes.
spirit. And when
It was her birthday 3 days ago.
Okay, so you were thinking of her a lot, and you've been missing her. That explains that. This is the exact way I saw this woman.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. So now, when I step down, and I know we're going downstairs, but this room here it actually seems to be, for me, one of the hot spots in your home. Something about candles or fire, but not like a big fire. Like, you didn't have like a fake fireplace, or would you light candles here?
We had a lot of candles.
If you were to know better at the time, if you were to able to look at the flame of the candles, they would have been going crazy.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, you may have noticed it.
since I was 12, you know, trying to figure this out with other people and investigating, and you tend to cover so many things, and that was one of them.
That definitely would be for you a validation. More than one person tells you the same activity in the same room, take it as truth.
Right.
All right, so could we go down to the space where you stay when you come here for visits?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Should we
right.
go this way?
Sure.
Down here is the lower level where I sleep
When you come
when
here.
I have to come home.
When you have to come
When I
home.
reluctantly have to come back here. Okay. This was my dad's area when he was alive, and I have some thoughts about this, and I'm curious to what you'll pick up on.
All of a sudden, I can't breathe coming down here. The air is very thick. My heart is racing very, very quickly.
There has been a man down here that has been recognized by other people besides me. There has been a man that has been recognized by other people besides me as well.
Down here?
Yeah.
Okay. This man, I have to ask who it is, because
I don't know.
Well, Dad will know. He hears what we're saying, and he's definitely ready to weigh in. I could feel him getting ready to merge with my energy. You ride horses? Did you ever ride horses?
Yeah.
Do you now ride horses?
No.
Do you do anything with cruelty to animals?
Yeah, I do.
What do you do? I mean, what
Well,
does
I
this
do a
mean?
lot of equine rescue and dogs as well, or extractions, but I work on the political end of it too.
The best way I could tell you is the man took care of the horses. That's what he did. I'm in a barn, I'm in a stable. He's brushing, he's grooming. I see him leading them out. I see him filling the bales with food for the horses. This man with the horses is thanking you for what you do.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
He himself was an animal lover, but then he obviously died somewhere.
Could have been. I may not have known him.
My daughter picks them up in her travels. There's not one that stays down here religiously.
I believe that.
I cannot get off Dad without him saying that what you've been experiencing is not a curse, but it is actually a gift. Being afraid of it has attracted all of these dark spirits that feed off that fear.
Okay. That feeling makes sense to me when you say that.
It's what you bring
I think
with
so.
you.
I agree with
You
that.
bring them in. Some of them go, some of them return, new ones come. A lot of them are men. Well, first of all, you're gorgeous, so I wouldn't doubt that even spirits want to follow you around.
Maybe-
But I'm not
usually
quite
when
sure
I'm
that they are, right? Because I'm seeing a lot of men.
I don't even know that I've seen a woman before. Only one, and it wasn't in a face-to-face.
Right. So that's true. Basically, aside from those friends of mom's, I haven't really seen too many women here either.
Right. But why is there a difference between people? You know, some of my friends can see them, some don't.
That's not easy to figure out for a person that doesn't know what's going on. If you want, we can actually go upstairs and we can sit down and I can kind of just give you somewhat of a scientific explanation about energy. Would you be open to that?
I'm open to anything, yeah.
All right, let's try to see if we could do that.
Okay,
all right?
let's
Just
do
go
it.
on up. This is nice. So let's recap a little bit. We had a lot of different energies kind of join us at this party today. Some people for mom, some people for you. We had your friend who you used to give your clothes to.
Yeah, who I didn't know was passed away.
I know. Well, that's the thing. Sometimes things like this can reveal things.
I believe it. There's too much supporting that, so.
Getting back to your initial question, which was, why me? Why are they so random?
Yeah, some can stay longer than the others.
You said to me earlier, you can actually see them?
Yeah, and it's not on purpose. It happens randomly. You know, I just assume it's the way that it works for me and that people have different ways of going about it. I definitely can't do what you do. It's not like I try and see
That's
someone.
good. I will explain.
Okay.
I can tell you right off the bat that you're an empath. You being an empath allows you to see clearly into the spirit world. That's called clairvoyancy. Feeling spirit is clairsentient, okay? And if you're afraid of these abilities and what they enable you to see, that can lead you to a lot of traumatic experiences.
Sure, okay.
Okay? The boundaries, though, I feel you need to work on. Learning how to protect yourself, not becoming drained like a battery would be drained.
Exactly.
Okay? So that's why these needy spirits, because there's positive and negative ones on the other side. Just because we've shed our physical body doesn't mean that we're all good sitting on a cloud playing a harp, right? Makes sense?
Yeah.
In the spirit world, they follow you.
Well, yeah, I know. It's how do you create those boundaries?
Not working with any type of fear, if it's a very rambunctious spirit, is very effective. Head to head with the spirit, telling them that they will not ruffle your feathers, they are not welcome in your space, that is your space, they need to leave. They don't always listen on the first time.
Okay.
If there is anything that ever seems uncomfortable for you that does enter your space, it seems dark, evil, or uncomfortable, do not give it any power and do not give it any fear, because it will feed off your fear.
I know.
The way that spirit communicates with this dimension is pretty much through thought. That's actually the easiest way for them to communicate.
Yep.
That takes the least amount of energy.
Correct.
If a spirit wants to move an object, that takes a tremendous amount of energy. How do they get to you? Well, basically, we speak through our thoughts. You don't need to speak out loud to a spirit for them to hear you. Okay, so is there anything about that that you may want to explore?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Would you like to try a little experiment? Would you like to try a little experiment?
I'm open as long as now I don't have a bunch of people on me again. I never want what happened when I was 12 to 16 ever to happen again.
This is a quick experiment having to do with asking a question to a spirit or whoever you want to from somebody on the other side and trying to see what response you receive mentally in your own thoughts.
Okay.
So who are you asking this question to?
Just simple yes or no. I'll ask my father.
Okay, that's good.
Okay. I would like to know if Maggie, my horse, has passed away.
Close your eyes.
Okay. I had her, majority of my teenage years but then I had to, when my father passed away, I had to sell her.
Can you ask your dad if the horse did in fact die, how did she die?
Okay.
And can you tell your dad to pop the answer in your head and tell me what you get? And don't think about it.
I know.
It's your first response. What do you get?
Well, yes.
Okay.
That would
you
be
got
it.
the word yes. Don't question what you get. I already asked your dad, and I wrote it down on my pad.
Okay.
You believe the horse passed. How?
I would have to say it has to do with her front legs, probably.
Okay, so you can open your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I did ask your dad.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, you were trying to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
And would you like to see what I have written on my pad?
Yeah.
Well, the first question you asked was, is Maggie passed on? And that was a yes or no.
Right.
And then I asked your dad, how did the horse pass? And so, yes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep, I can't look at it, but okay.
And what does the last thing say?
The leg, yeah, okay.
It says broken leg.
And she passed because of a broken leg?
Maybe they put her down. Maybe she couldn't run anymore. Maybe an infection set in.
Mm-hmm.
The cause or the root of the issue was the leg.
Okay.
Possibly if I were not sitting here, you may not believe what you got.
Right.
That's the biggest mistake most people make in trusting their gut, trusting what they know, trusting what they think they just heard. So for you, I'm validating it right here and now that you received an answer from your dad. Not through me,
right,
through you.
Right.
Now, if you were able to get that message from Dad about something so important to you, the rest of it is like gravy. Like, what are you doing here? What do you want? Who are these random people?
Mm-hmm.
Get them head on. Just address them. Don't let them lead you. You lead them.
Right.
Okay, the one thing I've learned in all of these years of communicating with spirits is I am in charge, they are not. And it's like anything else, when you're having an argument with a person, if you don't like what they're saying or they're not cooperating, you choose to tune them out. You can do that with spirit too.
Right.
You can say, if you don't cooperate, I am not listening. And they will have to go and find some other opening for someone else who may be vulnerable, frightened, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Is this always going to be with you? Probably. Is it a curse? Is it a gift? I use it as a gift. I'm sure you can too. Can it be draining? Yes. Not when you set your boundaries. You actually set the tone. Now, what you may not know is they're not necessarily coming into your dimension. You're elevating into their dimension. You have a vibration about your aura. Everybody has an aura, which like an energy field.
I know it. Yep.
And your aura, your energy field is more elevated than the average person.
Okay.
Okay, meaning that you elevate into their world.
Okay. I've not looked at it that way before.
And you're getting glimpses.
I see.
Because it takes a lot of energy to stay in their world.
Right, I'm sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm always assuming they're occupying my space, but you really enlightened me on the perspective of ascending to another dimension. And that's a big enlightenment for me. That answers a lot of questions for me too that were confusing.
So as long as you understand, like I said, the whys, you could deal with the hows.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, exactly. And that perspective answered a lot for me.
I hope I helped you.
You did, thank you.
I thank you for allowing me to help you. And could I have a hug?
Of course, thank you so much.
Thank you, sweetie.
When Kim came to the house today, I was confused and I had a lot of questions. And one of the things she really enlightened me on and made me recognize was my lack of setting boundaries. And I didn't trust myself trying to enforce them either. So I've always known that I'm an intuitive person, although this aspect of my life, I thought it was a curse. Now I understand more, I'm in more control of it, and I feel way better, so I'm really grateful.
Looking back at what we learned today, we saw Kelly had a lot of questions about the ghosts that haunted her childhood and the abilities she's never been able to control. After walking through the house and experiencing some of the residual energy, we determined that Kelly is an empath. People with psychic abilities like Kelly can only choose to embrace these abilities as a gift or fear them as a curse. But they cannot pretend they don't exist. And maybe what's true for Kelly is true for all of us, that we just need to learn to trust ourselves.